back to TenTenths Podcast. I'm your host, Robert Brio, and I am sitting in the Kanka Motorsports studio, and I have Adam Nielsen on Zoom, back from his vacation, away from all of you fans.
Vacation, that's what that was.
Sitting in the beautiful weather with his feet up, just enjoying the time away from the podcast, which
Still have a sore throat. I am coronavirus free, according to the state of Iowa, but I still feel kind of like garbage, even though it's been a week.
I think that's what Jess has. Jess has that really bad right now.
I slept all day Wednesday last week.
Yes, that's exactly what Jess has.
The whole fucking day.
Weird. But did Katie get sick at all?
Katie is sick right now.
Oh, Jess is like almost over it
for like 24 hours, and then he was like, "Nah, I'm too busy for this," and I really kind of hate him for it.
No, she came back from the lake with some head cold, and it's progressively got worse, and then slightly gotten better. And it hasn't touched me at all. It's weird.
Your turns are coming, bro.
God, I hope not. I really hope not.
That would be classic.
Dude, if be sick for the entire one lap, I'd be so mad.
That would be classic.
Just be done for the season. You know what?
It's
fucking
PRI
quit.
all over again.
I fucking quit. No more. I'm just gonna stay home.
How excited are you right now, Robbie?
Dude, I'm super, super, super pumped.
You leave Friday morning, so like 24 hours.
It doesn't.
So if I'm a listener, right?
Yeah.
It's Monday morning on my commute, and I'm listening to this. Where are you?
Let's see. Let's do this in my head. So Saturday would be South Bend, Indiana. Sunday would be Memphis. Monday would be Eagles Canyon.
Nice. Where's Eagles? Is that
Texas? Decatur,
Texas, right?
Yeah, Decatur, Texas.
That's isn't that Dusty's home track?
Yeah, I think he's trying to make it out there just to swing by and say, "Hey."
That'd be cool.
I'm not sure what the COVID protocols are, but
damn, look at you. That's a long ways away from Memphis.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent jaunt. So it goes Memphis to Eagles Canyon to NOLA to Atlanta, which is not Road Atlanta.
Isn't that kind of like zigzagging back and forth?
Yeah, because you come down to Memphis. Yeah,
back to NOLA. Those Memphis and NOLA got to be closer to each other than. That's probably not that far apart, is it?
They're not too terrible.
I don't know. They're all the south.
Yeah, it's far, far away that we don't know about.
Yeah, we don't go over there. We're not welcome over there, really.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Let me pull up the map. I had the course.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at it.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's about the same distance because it looks like Memphis, if you go straight south to NOLA, whereas now you go basically the same distance to Eagles Canyon, then back to NOLA. And then Atlanta Motorsports Park, not Road Atlanta, which I was mistaken about earlier. But the biggest
AMP, I've heard lots of really good things about AMP.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun. They're doing an oval at Lanier Raceplex, so I'm not sure what that is.
Like an actual oval?
I think so.
Or a roval?
Oval, like an actual oval.
Weird.
Yeah, because there's at Grissom Air Force Base, we're doing like an autocross.
Isn't that the autocross? I think there's always an autocross, and I think there's also a drag race. Is there a drag race at Lanier?
No,
drag strip?
That's at Memphis, I think.
Is that in Memphis? Because I think there's always a drag race. If I remember right, the first year that Bill did this.
Yep.
This is the guy you're racing with. Team Cornfed on Facebook, everybody.
That's right.
He broke a motor mount at the drag race in his STI.
Yeah, that'd be awful.
The first year.
Hopefully the Corvette is more than capable of all of that stuff. Actually, funny you should mention that. We had Paragon Performance install a bunch of fun stuff. So
Did they do it?
Oh, yes. So Paragon Performance teamed up with us basically to give us all sorts of goodies. So we went out and tested the car a couple weeks ago. Got to feel
totally different now.
Yeah, it's like super comfortable. It's like the easiest car I've ever driven. It's like I go out there and I'm just busting out laps way faster than the Z, and I'm not even trying on I guess I want to say harder tires, but there's no way that's possible. But the 300 treadwear tires.
On paper, they're harder.
I mean, it's just
10 years old.
No. By the way, those are completely taken off the car and thrown in a pile. For the record,
I couldn't be more proud.
They are trashed. They are gone.
Good. They've been trashed for a long time, Robbie. It was just time. It was time you accepted that.
Oh, no, I didn't want to take it out ever again on those. But the Corvette was at Paragon Performance, and it got brakes, rotors, like I see these really high end axles, like 1,400 horsepower capable axles. I think that's the important stuff that we got. I think there's some other odds and ends because they're doing a bunch of like install videos using Bill's car.
Well, so they sell these like cooler covers.
Yes.
Like for oil coolers, trans coolers, all that stuff. Because apparently the grills on those cars are really open.
Yes, they are.
The factory, and the stuff is like super susceptible to damage, which shocks me.
Yeah.
And so, because I talked to JB quite a bit while I was at NCM, and he said that the ones that they sell are the only ones that bolt in using factory holes. All the other ones, you have to like zip tie them in and like janky stuff like that.
Lame.
He's like, I don't even know why people are bothering trying to sell that to Corvette people.
Yeah, they can't be selling those at all.
Like, these aren't Subarus, guys. You can't do that. No one's going to buy that crap. He says, he told me that they were like, they literally, they cannot make them fast enough.
That doesn't surprise me. Like, if you make a quality product and it's something that's pretty sought after, as it should be.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I think we got. Or I say we, it's Bill's car. I think Bill got all that stuff as well, like the cooler covers and all that stuff. So if you see a blue Corvette in the Paragon Performance videos, that's the car I'm driving for one lap. That's Bill's car. We got tires installed yesterday, which would be Tuesday. They got installed. And
what are they?
Oh God, what are they? I think they're the Pilot Sport 4S. Is that right?
Did they go on
God, I should have
factory wheels?
Yes.
Or did they go on JV's wheels?
That's a good question. Did we get wheels too? I don't remember.
JV told me.
Did we got wheels too?
He told me that basically that he was like, Bill's being like worrywart about it, and he doesn't want to mess with it too much.
Which I get.
Like, JB's like, I'm just going to throw the whole catalog at him when it gets here, and I'm not even going to tell him, and I'm just going to say, just take the car, and we'll figure it out later.
That's actually the conversation we had, because he said that's what he told him. I was like, yeah, well, you have this, we'll figure it out later. What? We had it all figured out, but it's like been months since we talked about it. Now I can't remember.
Yeah.
All I know is they're not the Yoko AO52s, because that would be insane.
Yeah.
I can't believe there are people are doing
he was
that.
talking about like a set of RE71s or something that he was going to try and sneak on there.
Oh God, no! Please don't do that.
On some Volks.
Volks would be great. 71's not great. That was not the conversation we had. Bill and I had the very conservative. Let's pretend that we don't want to crash in the rain conversation, and that's why we went
living. You aren't living the life.
I'm not.
You need to be.
No. Yes, I am. I am living the life that doesn't take the risks that are unnecessary in someone else's Corvette. That is the life I'm living.
The weather looks great, Robbie.
Don't you fucking say it. Don't you fucking say it. Don't do it. Oh, it looks fucking great. Rains every goddamn day.
It's because I love you.
You're an asshole. You're an asshole.
It's fine.
Actually, the weather did look pretty good. We'll be driving through probably a few storms, but it looked like the tracks themselves would not be raining while we were there. So we'll see. I don't. It rains at least one day during one lap.
Oh, it's got to
at the track. So
it's got to.
And we were happy to find out that we could get track insurance the day of. We have the quote. All we have to do is just say, "Hey, it sucks here. Let's get the insurance."
Through Haggerty?
I think he got a couple quotes. I can't remember which one he decided that was the best one.
The one that we were going to use, the company that we were going to use for our autocross that never happened.
Yep.
That Adam Jabay recommended to us.
Yes.
Not the first one that actually ruined our autocross, but the one that Jabay recommended to us, but we were too slow, or we were too late on it. Not too slow, too late. They do track day insurance too, and I think that they might maybe have a little bit better rates. Than
Bill was shopping around to see if it made sense to just get insurance from the start, but it would basically financially cripple us, and we decided that we'll just play it by ear.
I should try and figure out who that is, because now I'm like plugging a company I don't have a name for, and people might be like, "Who's this other track day insurance provider?" That would be great. Because
I can picture their logo. I can't think of it.
I still have this on my phone for some reason. I think this is the company that actually quoted us and then fucked us over. Yeah, it is. God damn it! I don't have it either.
No.
Oh, it's Lockton.
Yes,
Lockton Insurance.
Yep.
They insure Gridlife. So they're
good
people.
Yeah, they get it.
Yeah.
So
TenTenths podcast send you. They'll have no fucking.
I'll be very confused, but just tell them anyways. I put that on all my packages that says company, like where you can put in an optional company. TenTenths podcast is always the company. I want everyone to know.
Nice.
I got that. Well, since we're here, I put a fire suppression system in my car, and because the Z doesn't have a flat plane anywhere on the floor anywhere, I had to put it behind the seat, like between the columns in the back, like below the cage. So I mean, it's not a bad spot for it, but it's just like 4 or 5 feet away from where they intended it to be. So when I try to run my lines for all 8 nozzles, it's, okay, well, you're about 12 feet short. And then, of course, you have to order it, which is not convenient. But, yeah, I ordered from Competition Motorsport, and that showed up today. So I finished my fire suppression system.
Is that company here in town?
They moved to Texas.
Oh, they don't have a store here in Des Moines anymore?
Nope. But I ordered from them anyways, and it came from Texas. They were the only ones that had reasonable pricing on the Lifeline fire suppression hose, or the semi-rigid hose.
Yeah, you were like mad that you couldn't find any of that.
It's not available anywhere. Then you got to spend $13 on shipping for $10 worth of tubing.
Welcome to COVID, man. Nothing's available anywhere anymore.
Freaking annoying.
It's ridiculous.
But yeah. Oh well, it's installed now. I have fire suppression.
Good.
So hopefully I don't ever need to use it.
That is one of those things.
I guess.
Where did you point it?
I have 8 nozzles, 2 nozzles, so I got that.
8 nozzles. Good God. You said that already, but it just dawned on me that's a lot.
Yep. So, let's see. I have. So I got 2 nozzles pointed directly to the caps of the fuel tanks. So I got got that saddle fuel tank that has 2.
Oh yeah.
It has like 2 metal caps that go over top of the area where the fuel pumps are. So I got 2 nozzles pointed directly at those. One in the passenger well pointing towards me. So it would like if it sprays, it's going to capture like the center console and me, and then the other one's pointed like at my feet. And then I have 4 on the engine, so 2 in the front, 2 in the rear. Or they're both on the sides, 1 in the front and the rear.
Where'd you point it specifically at you?
At my garage, really.
That's where I was told to point it at.
Yeah, so it's like
the tech inspector at the Brainerd Champ Car race we did. He's because we had it like pointed. I don't remember where. I think Josh pointed it at his feet, or his torso. I can't remember which. But the guy's like, "Which would you rather save? Right, your feet or your jewels?" We're like, you know what?
You bring up excellent point.
We're gonna change that.
Yep.
It's a good point.
Yeah, no, it's not dead center in front of me. It's kind of off to my right a little bit and pointed kind of back. Yeah, so basically over my knee towards my crotch. Is kind of where I have it aimed.
Gotcha.
Which you could always adjust. But yeah, that was my thought process. Kind of my thought process too. I was like, well, let's give myself a little bit of time to get out of the car, and hopefully, again, that I never have to use.
Have you tried the out the window thing in that car?
Like pulling the window net down and climbing out?
Yeah.
I have not. Because I've left the glass in while I've been doing all this other shit I've been working on, so I haven't done that.
I gotcha.
I do have the window net in and all that other stuff. It's just some goofy wiring gremlins and off the line performance for the tune, and then I'm ready to go, I think.
Cool. Should we talk about the things I brought for my opener and whatnot?
Yeah. So as always, our opener is presented by Factory Fabrication, factoryfabrication.com. If you need to get railed or caged, call Booney up. I know there's some really awesome commercial stuff here. Like if you go to these businesses in town, you're like, man, that railing is ridiculous. It's probably done by Factory Fabrication.
Don't tell him I sent you, because apparently he still hates me.
Yeah, he wrote it on the board at Solo.
I don't know what I did to him to deserve such hatred, but I'm kind of proud of it, honestly.
Well, I mean, you guys are too similar. Like you cat people, you guys are like cats because you can't stand each other. Like cats are not good friends all the time.
I mean, you're not wrong. Every once in a while, my cats will like start to play a little bit. And then Katie's dog will be like, "Oh my gosh, I have friends, right?" And she'll jump in there, and then they'll be like, "Nah, man, we're done. Never mind."
Yeah, we're not playing anymore.
Just like walk away in opposite directions, and the dog's just like visibly bummed, just like so bummed out. It makes me laugh every time.
That poor dog just wants to be loved.
I assure you, she's doing fine. Not an issue.
But if you have any like custom furniture or railings or staircases or anything that requires some custom fabrication with wood or metal, Booney's your guy. I know he's super, super busy, and that's because obviously all of our listeners are deciding to get fabrication work done, which we really appreciate. But yeah, make sure when you go to Factory Fabrication, just say, "Hey, Robbie sent you." Not Adam.
Right. Get you a much better deal.
You'll get the sweetheart deal and a hug on the way out the door. But like he has to go for the hug. Like, don't you do it because then it'll be awkward.
Yeah, don't.
No,
yeah.
You better not start it.
Let him initiate.
Yep.
And don't make it too long.
No. There's like a 2-second rule.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
It's like a pat on the back, then go.
That seems reasonable. So let's see. Where do I start with this? So a while ago, I don't even remember how long ago now, my dad had that little altered Bantam Roadster drag car thing, right? We've talked about it a few times on the show. He sold it. I'm pretty sure we talked about that on the show at some point.
We have talked about that.
So that was gone down the river, and he was looking for a replacement. He specifically was wanting a door slammer, meaning a car with a roof and doors, because it is his belief that that car is a little easier to run by yourself, which he kind of has to do because I can't be in Missouri at his drag strips that he goes to every weekend. So he kind of has to run it a little bit on his own most of the time. So I kind of argued with him a little bit about the fact that I didn't really understand why he thought it was easier, but whatever, it's his deal. So he sold that car. It took a long time, a lot of, he had their, he put, very interested in trades. Let me know what you have. The things that people offered him, very interesting. Somebody offered him a endurance racing built Taurus show.
I bet you were into that.
Which I told him not to buy or
what?
not to accept.
Why not?
Because I feel like number one, it looked like it was well built, but it's been well used. Right. And so like the bones were good, but the body was rough. Right.
Okay.
And so while I don't think that it was an even trade, and I don't remember if they were trying to trade it even or not, but I didn't. And the other thing was that I felt like that would have an even more narrow interest group and be even harder to move.
Yeah, unless he's selling it
because
to you.
He literally would be like most of the time. Basically, the trades he was looking at, he grouped them into two categories. Am I interested in this? Would it be easier to sell? Those were the, and I kind of felt like that should fall into the no category for both of those things.
That's fair. That's where I'm at with the 240. Like someone's like, would you take a Jeep
Yeah.
Cherokee? I'm like, yeah, probably. Oh, like even? Then no, fuck off.
Yeah.
Will you take my
Partial
88?
trade?
Will you
Like,
take
we
my
could talk
88
about
Camaro?
this.
Yeah, it's like the dude tried to sell me an 80 or trade me an 88 Camaro or no.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
88 Camaro. He was like talking it up, and then I was like, all right, well, let me see some pictures. And it was like not painted. Like there was like primer and shit all over it.
Yeah, it was.
And I was like, okay, like what's your cash off with? Oh, no cash. Like just this is it. Then fuck off. Like really?
Yeah, that seems ridiculous.
You're barely running car. Okay, got it.
Somebody offered him a drag race spec Volkswagen Beetle, like an old Beetle.
Yeah. That's fairly common, isn't it? As a drag car?
Yeah, there's a pretty big following of them in that category. And the picture he sent him, like the front wheels are way up in the air, which is not that hard to do with a rear engine car. So it's not like it's some billion-mile-an-hour car. I'm sure it was very fast because they're super light, and despite the fact that those motors are kind of hot garbage from the factory, like people have decided that this is their life, and they have dedicated it to Volkswagen Beetles, and so they found ways to squeeze power out of them. And so, like they can be fast, don't get me wrong, but the ability to do wheelies is not that big a deal with those cars, from what I've understood. But my dad could not be more anti-air-cooled Volkswagen.
I don't really blame him
at all.
Not-
so, he was kind of like, I mean, it's kind of like in its category, it's very cool. He's like, I don't think that's going to be any easier to sell. And honestly, I don't really want to race it down the racetrack because it kind of looks like a death machine. Yeah, it does. And then when it breaks down, you got to fix it. And I know you hate working on Volkswagens. So that didn't go. There were a few others here and there, people with muscle cars and little things here and there. But for the most part, it was never really the right thing. And then finally, I don't even know where it ended up. It was a ways away. It's not a local car anymore, but it's gone, moved downriver. And so then started the trying to find what he was going to buy to replace it. So what he was kind of looking for was more of a car that was either like ready to go or nearly there. There's no such thing as a ready to go product like race car.
Yeah, of course not.
It doesn't matter what you buy, even like, oh, you could take it racing tomorrow, but it still needs work. Don't get it twisted. But that's kind of what he wasn't looking for, like buying a car that needed a full restoration and conversion into a race car. And he wasn't looking for a car that was even like a street car that could be converted into a race car. That's really not what he was looking for. Because it was more the goal of just getting back on the racetrack,
right?
Than it was like messing around with getting the car ready to go. And so, and he was also looking very specifically for Pontiac, not only in body but also in engine, because you'd be surprised how hard that is. Finding Pontiacs is one thing; finding them without Chevys underneath the hood is a whole nother ballgame. And that's heresy of the highest order in my dad's mind. So that was a struggle. And then he specifically, he wanted to build some sort of vintage or gasser type of race car. So lots of things came and went. He'd send me like literally he'd send me one or two things a day almost, just like, what are you doing, Dad? Like, half of them were like, no, like you're not serious about this, right? And then one of the things he really, really wanted was a 55 Pontiac. And I can't imagine a car I could be less interested in as a drag car, because to me, a 55 Pontiac is just a 55 Chevy that's churched up a little bit. And 55 Chevys are the most like stereotypical not muscle car old car that exists in my mind. It was maybe the exception of like a 32 Ford.
Yep.
It's just like that's the car you think of when you think of old car, and they're so played out and so lame. The other thing is that I don't like full size drag cars.
Right.
So I was very adamantly against the 55 Chevy. I desperately wanted him to get back into a 61 to 63 Pontiac Tempest, which is what we had when I was a young kid and stuff like that. So, unbeknownst to me, at some point somewhere along this line, my dad put out a few feelers looking for his old tube chassis drag car Tempest. We sold it like 20 years ago or something almost to somebody in Georgia. We knew it went to Georgia. It went as a roller, but that's all we knew. It had a transmission, a rear end, no engine.
This is that
no
yellow
idea where
that yellow car
What's
that you were,
that?
this is that yellow car you had the dragster that matched.
Right. And it was one, like this car was built in like the 90s and the 90s drag racing in the 90s was so cool because people built like the wildest paint job cars. It was almost like mini trucking, right?
Yeah.
And I loved that and I still wish that people did that stuff more. It's a race car. Like live it up a little, like maybe not just paint it all red. Like let's do something fun with it, right?
And put underglow on it, just like GLTC's doing.
Yeah, sure. Why the hell not? Whatever. The story with that car is that my dad gave it to a friend. So the story of that paint job, he crashed the car. I think we talked about it when he was on the show with us. The rear end blew up. The car rolled over. We had to replace the roof skin, and maybe a few other little panels. But for the most part, the car was still in good working shape. I think maybe they replaced a bar or two in the cage, but for the most part it did its job. Excuse me, still have the sore throat. But for that paint job, he brought it to a friend of his who was like a body shop and paint shop and also a drag racer, and he said no pinks, no purples, no greens, just do something. And that's what came back, which is one of the wildest paint jobs ever. And then what was really funny, so, he had like the real tall air cleaner, like the 6-inch tall air cleaner on top of the carburetor.
Yep.
When you took the air cleaner off, that stud or that piece of all thread that goes down into the carburetor that the air cleaner actually sits on, from right where the air cleaner ended to the top of the carburetor, they painted it green.
That's awesome.
So you never saw it unless you were working on the motor. It was that way for like a while before my dad even knew about it. But anyway, so that car disappeared, and apparently at some point somewhere on the Facebook machine, my dad had put out a few feelers looking for the car and actually found it. And I sent you a few pictures of it it is now. It is still the crazy paint job. He put a different hood on it. If I remember right, we had the original hood, like it was an original steel hood, and he bought a fiberglass hood. And so that was just in primer or gel coat, as the case may be, and not painted. But the rest of the car was still that way. The interior had been redone, meaning that he just put new aluminum paneling in it. But it was still very much the way my dad sold it. And he put a very wild motor in it. And so my dad ran like real low 10-second quarter miles, like 10.1, 10.2, somewhere around in there. The class he raced in, he could go faster than 990. So we always tried to stay in that low 10-second range. I guess the car runs like high 8s or low 9s now.
Jeez.
Like it's remarkably faster, which is super cool. And so when we found the car, or when he found the car, he reached out to the guy who had it and like asked him like, hey man, like, I used to own this car, looking for a race car again. What's the chance? Is the car for sale? If it is, what's the number? And the guy said, we kind of been thinking about maybe selling it, moving on to other options, but we're not real sure. And one thing led to another, and the guy actually put a number on it, and the number was very reasonable. I was convinced that guy was going to be like, oh, sentimental value.
Yep.
I'm going to put 20% on top of this, which my dad would be like, no, my dad is not that guy at all. And so he put it like a very reasonable number on it, right in the area of where my dad was looking at other cars that were actually probably less car than and it was a real good deal by any standards, despite like even outside of the fact that we have history with the car. And so like obviously I was very excited, like to the point where I was like literally almost in tears just thinking about it. Right?
Yeah.
Because this car was, I mean, that like I remember like 8-year-old me, that was the coolest car in the world. Yeah. And that's the car that introduced me into racing of any form, and kind of started me down this idiotic path I'm on now. And so, but my dad still wasn't fully dedicated to it. And he had a few other cars that were kind of, he was kind of hemming and hawing back and forth over, and those cars kind of came and went. One of them was on auction and went for like an astronomical sum of money. Another one, which was also a 61 or 62 Tempest, he kind of talked himself out of, and I kind of helped. I was like, so it was the original 4-cylinder motor, but it was significantly hopped up. And so it like, but it still only ran like a 14-second quarter mile, which is way slower than my dad was willing to go.
Just buy a new Honda Accord, man.
Yeah, right. And so I was like, he's like, if I bought this thing, like I'm either going to have to dump a whole bunch of money, like, because we had talked about Mickey Thompson actually like raced those motors. He supercharged them and raced them. And there's one of them in the Museum of Speed at Speedway in Lincoln, Nebraska, that we went to like 5 years ago now.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, there's one of those on display there. And so we actually kind of talked about it back and forth, like it, and it wouldn't have been like the hardest thing in the world, but to do it right was going to cost multiple thousands of dollars, or he could just yank that thing out and put a V8 Pontiac in there. But again, you're looking at multiple thousands of dollars, and the price that they were asking on the car just didn't make any sense. And so that one, we both kind of talked him out of that one. And here, like, we were literally like, it was Tuesday, and he's telling me like, Friday when you get off work, come to Missouri, we're going to Georgia. Like we're gonna trip this thing to Georgia. We're going to get the car. And like, I'm fucking beyond ecstatic. And I was really not telling anybody about it at this point because I didn't want to ruin it. And then somewhere between the day he told me like, yeah, we're going to do it this weekend and this weekend happening, he backed out on it.
Aww.
And decided that was not the route he was going to take, which endlessly disappoints me. But I get he kind of like, my dad's not the youngest guy in the world. I'm getting old, as I like to tell everybody, which means that he's getting real old. And so he kind of, like it was a lot of car. Like it was a pretty quick car in its day. It's significantly faster than it was nowadays. And, it was kind of like, I don't even know. He's like, I don't even know that I need to go that fast, which I can respect. I can understand. I might not be happy about it, but I understand it. And it was quite a bit of money. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't an absurd amount of money, and I don't want to talk about what they were asking.
Yeah,
for
the price is
not
important.
It was still a pretty big chunk of change, and ultimately he ended up bowing out on the opportunity, which I was really bummed out about. And then I found out what he actually bought.
And this is where you get really bummed?
So remember, I said I don't like full-size drag cars. And he knows this. I have long said I don't like full-size drag cars. They don't work for me. Drag cars are supposed to be small and like compact-ish and lightweight and high horsepower, and that's not what a full-size car is. But what he ended up buying was it's a 61 Pontiac Catalina. I sent a couple pictures of it to Robbie here, so those on the YouTube can see it, and I'll probably post some pictures on the group too if my dad's okay with it. But it is a race car already. It's a very tame car. When when you think of drag car, this is not like a wild car. I don't know that it's street legal, but I think that's only because it's not registered.
You're talking about this is the blue car, right?
The blue car.
Okay.
Yep. So that body style is called a Batwing, which I think you can kind of see where that comes from. They're very funky looking.
Yeah.
And I like funky looking cars. I'm still kind of not sure where I land on this one yet. I don't know that I'm sure I've seen them, but I've never paid enough attention to it in the past to like really say how I feel about it. So I'm going there this weekend. I haven't seen the car yet. He's had it for quite a while, but I haven't seen the car yet. So I guess we'll find out how I feel for real about it this weekend.
Are the pictures you sent me of its current condition, or?
I think it was dirty, but yes.
But it doesn't have an engine.
So the engine is a 421, which is a rare Pontiac motor that was available in this car from the factory, but didn't come in this car.
Okay.
But they were available from the factory. It's like a really super valuable engine. But it's on an engine stand. It was built by a very reputable Pontiac guy. The motor's got some parts in it. It should be pretty with the motor that he has. Once it's in the car, it's got dual 4-barrel engine or carburetors to go on it, which is a pretty rare intake manifold setup. Once it's all in there, it should be pretty close to kind of the area that my dad was like drawing as the like minimum speed he was willing to accept. And so I think he's going to probably put this engine in it and run it as it is, or as it was, to start with. But apparently he's also already bought another motor. Because he's a crazy person.
I was going to say, scope creep got real fast.
Well, so here's the thing. That 421 is like one of the rarest Pontiac motors of that era.
Okay.
And because of that, it's very, very valuable.
Makes sense.
It's not hard to rebuild. It's not like it's expensive if it were to break as compared to other Pontiacs, but it's very valuable to collectors and to restorers. And he's kind of at that point where like, I'm going to put it in the car and I'm going to try it out just to run it because it's period correct and it's interesting. But it's such an expensive motor that's not where he wants to stay long term. I shouldn't say expensive, valuable.
Yeah, right.
And so he's got it's a slightly newer motor, which will still bolt in there, but the newer motors have more aftermarket parts available to them, so he doesn't have to get so weird. Like you can buy, I don't think that you can buy like the aftermarket Edelbrock aluminum heads for the engine that it came with, but you can for the engine that he bought. And like they look exactly the same from the outside, but there's bolt pattern differences and little things like that just are difficult about that engine, and so it's not staying in the car long term.
Okay, yeah, and the last thing I want to do is ruin a part or an engine that's super difficult to find parts for or work on.
Yeah, it's super rare. which is cool. It's part of the, part of that is cool and interesting as a race car, but also at the same time not, so it's kind of that line you have to walk. My dad's very much the story guy, kind of like I am about cars. I love as much the story behind the cars, the car itself. It's one of the things I love about my Omni so much. And that's why I really, really, really wanted to see the Tempest come home, because that story would have been so incredible to me. Like a car that he built 25, 30 years ago, sold to help fund my and my little sister's drag racing, and just kind of like racing kind of was always in our family but was less important for a while, and now he's kind of come back around to it, and oh look, we found the old car. 20 years later he's reunited with it. I think it would have been such a cool story, and I'm super bummed that it didn't happen, but I mean, it is what it is. So he's really jazzed on this Catalina, which I have told him I'm not like totally convinced on. So he's not hearing anything new here. But I mean, it's unique.
Yeah.
Right?
So I didn't even recognize the car when you sent it. I wouldn't be able to tell you what it is.
Deal. So I think he's getting a roll bar built and welded into it. He found a local fabrication shop that had a spot for him, and he feels comfortable with, which is good. And so they're gonna put just like a back half 4-point in it, nothing that extends forward to the B pillars. I think he's gonna try and keep the back seat in it, if I remember correctly. Just little things to keep it safe enough. And, drag racing is really good about, because it's a little bit easier to police this than it is in road racing. They're really good about, like, if you go this fast, you have to have this level of safety. Mm-hmm. If you go this fast, you're going to have this level of safety. It's a little bit easier to police because things are consistent. But yeah, the speed he's planning on going, he needs a few little things like the roll bar, the 5 and some stuff like that. So that's what he's going to do. But like, it's got a bench front seat, which he plans on keeping, which I think is hilarious.
So is he going to swap that in and out, or?
Nope. That's legal with the roll bar.
Huh.
Yep.
Huh.
And that's like very vintage period correct to have like the roll bar in the back and still rock the bench seat.
So it wouldn't be 5, maybe 4 points then, right? Or is he doing 5?
I don't even know. Yeah, I think it'd be 4 point then. Yeah, definitely would be 4 point.
I just assumed it was like just a lap belt and like half a helmet, and to heck with it.
It might be. I don't know. I don't know exactly how fast he's going and how stringent the rules are. I think he has to have things like drive shaft loops and little stuff like that.
Yep.
I'm not exactly sure how far he's going to take it. In the past, my dad has always gone a little bit farther than the bare minimum requirements.
Not a bad thing.
No.
At all.
No, not at all. So, and he's not looking to, build a dangerous car by any stretch. So, I don't know. We'll see what he does with it. I'm cautiously excited for that much, at least. I really enjoy going and racing with him, even if it's not the car I had hoped and dreamed, and even if he crushed my soul when he turned me down, even though he told me we were going to get it. I'm happy that he's found something he's excited about. So,
yeah, and he'll start doing more racing and doing more with it, and yeah, who knows? It'll grow into more than what you realized or what you plan to do with it.
Yeah. So, Gridlife this year is going to Heartland Park, and apparently they're going to do a little bit of a test and tune on the drag strip in the evening, at least one of those nights. And my intention, if the car is running, is to make my dad bring it down there and do a couple passes just for the fun.
That would be awesome.
So,
yeah, I'm really looking forward to that event.
Yeah, that event's going to be super fun. I'm very, very excited about that one. My dad's going to be there. Dusty's dad is going to be there. There's going to be so much track dadding. It's going to be the best.
that'll be a good
So
group.
I plan on bringing, because it's only like an hour from my parents' house. So I'm probably going to have my wife and kid there, as I have at Heartland Park in the past too. So It's going to be cool. I'm very excited about that one.
Yeah, I think
that's
of
actually all the ones. That's the one I'm most excited.
I was just going to say that. Like, I'm obviously looking forward to Gingerman. In May or in June for the first GLTC race I'm in. But I think Topeka is probably the one I'm most excited about.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be great. So, but yeah, that's the story of my dad getting back into his drag car dreams. So
nice.
It was very up and down for me for a while. Like,
yeah, that's a little bit of a roller coaster because you're super
funny
pumped.
Katie doesn't get it, right?
Even still,
I was trying to think of how to explain to her. So her parents, when she was growing up, they lived on a farm outside of the town that she grew up in for quite a while, and then moved into town and were living there. And she always talks about how of all these fond memories she has of this farmhouse, right? And so I tried to kind of explain to her, my dad buying that car would be the equivalent to your mom or dad buying the old house and moving back into it. That's the same level of sentimental value to me. That car is the same level as that house is to her. And so then she's like, okay, that makes sense to me. She says, I can understand that. That car formed a lot of the way I look at race cars and yeah, it was a big deal. So
yeah,
the fact that it's still out there makes me really happy too.
I can't believe it hasn't changed.
Shocked.
That much.
Yeah, that it's still basic. It still has the same rear-ended transmission that was in it when my dad sold it.
That's insane. Or that the paint job is in that good a condition and unchanged.
Yeah, it's so cool to me. And the fact that the people who have it have not only kept it in that shape but have improved upon it a little bit, and that it hasn't ended up in a crusher or in a field or in a barn.
Mm-hmm.
Is so cool to me. Just the fact that it's still out there, it makes me really happy. So it may not end up home yet, but the fact that it's still out there is still really cool.
Yeah, and then where it is. So, if that dude ever decides to get serious about selling it, your dad might change his mind.
Yeah.
Post a for sale sign, and it's
Yeah, he had as a lot of people do, he has a Facebook page dedicated to the car, right?
Yep.
And I'm not going to plug it just because, but it's not a very active page, especially because in COVID times it was kind of hard to get out and go racing. But the second post down at the time that I found that, or that my dad found that page and shared it to me, was him asking if anybody knew anything about a different car because he was interested in buying it and he was just looking for some information on it. So clearly he's not super dedicated to this car.
Yep.
And he's kind of looking at maybe finding a way out of it. I hope that means it doesn't end up in somebody's hands that isn't going to take care of it. But
yeah,
such is life.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's all I got about that.
Yeah, moving on. I guess this would be, our topic. Our topic is our topic is always sponsored by Petrobox, mypetrobox.com. If you want to get 10 or 15% off of your first box or anything that's currently available in the store, go to mypetrobox.com and use the code TTP15. That's 15% off your first box. Don't listen to Dalton. You don't care about the flask. You want 15% off, obviously. So just make sure when you go to the store and buy some of the stuff, use our code. We appreciate it. They appreciate it. And like I said, there's some awesome stuff in here. Getting the dog collars. My dogs wear them every day, and they're not very expensive at all. $15
I saw somebody with a dog collar on their dog at Gridlife.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure whose it was, but there was somebody there with it. So that was cool.
And even though he said not to talk about Eagle Grit, they're going to reach out and see if they can get more Eagle Grit.
This is true.
Give the people what they want.
We've beat them down.
I ran out of one bottle, but I went to the other bottle, so we're good.
Do you like legit use it in the shower?
That's where I keep it.
Why though?
So I can scrub my hands good.
But like they make sinks, Robbie.
I know, but that only gets me so clean. And then I'm in the shower, I can like scrub, and then go back to it later. Like if it's like, oh, you know what, I didn't get it all. No, I'm cleaning everything. Everything gets cleaned, perfectly cleaned. Never you mind what I do in the shower. No, that's my time. You know,
that's fine. I'm not like, I take long showers. I have no room to judge. Robbie.
Yeah, I like to be clean. Okay. But if you want to be clean, or if you want your car to be clean, or if you want to look super fly in your new shirt, Petrobox has all you got. I mean, they have shirts that look like the, it says race car things. We've worn it a bunch of times, but it looks like the Stranger Things logo. Yep. They got the HKS logo Petrobox shirt, hooker headers. They got all sorts of cool stuff. Champion
spark plugs. I'm wearing right now.
Exactly. They're the Supreme knockoff one that says race car. I wear that a lot.
Oh, I don't even know that I've seen that one.
I think you own it.
I for sure do not own that one.
Are you sure? It's just a black shirt that says race car in red. Well, it looks like the Supreme logo. I wear it all the time. I've worn it on the show. Yeah, a bunch of different shirts, and then like just an endless supply of car care products that are already discounted prices that you can get for even more discounted prices if you go to the store, or if you go to get a box. It'll show up at your door every month. I have just a stockpile of awesome like car care products that, hey, I need tire cleaner or a wheel cleaner. Oh, perfect. I'll just go grab that, get all this brake dust off of my wheels, and it works really great. Probably wouldn't have ever bought it, except it shows up in my box, and now I use it all the time. So, I don't know. If you want to get something like that, mypetrobox.com.
So I have a few things I want to add about my NCM experience.
Is this kind of like your rebuttal, since you didn't get a chance to defend yourself last week?
Very minimally.
Okay.
I just feel like I can't be bothered trying to debunk those two's ridiculousness. So mostly it's just a couple of things I wanted to talk about that got left out because they either weren't involved in it or I feel like can do a better job.
I can't believe they didn't bring up your luggage.
That's not the first time it's been out.
Really?
No. I use that every time I go places now.
Isn't that your kids?
Yeah.
Okay. So I get a message in the group chat that everyone's like, I can't believe, like, have you seen this? I'm like, what are you talking about? And it's Adam with a Lightning McQueen suitcase with his clothes in it. Like, that they sell at Walmart for small children.
Yeah, it looks like Lightning McQueen. It's shaped like a race car. It looks like Lightning McQueen. It's very fitting for the weekend, Robbie.
It is, but is it the size of a carry-on or is it smaller?
Oh, yeah, it's for sure carry-on sized.
Okay. That's a little bigger than I thought it would be.
You got to, like, pick and choose. Like, you can't really...
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention, like, so Bill and I are not taking any sort of, like, trailer with the Corvette.
Yeah.
So we're fitting enough clothes and gear that has to fit in the frunk and the trunk. And the trunk is just big enough to fit two golf bags, and the frunk is just big enough to fit like a helmet and a racing suit. So we're gonna have to figure out how to pack 8 days worth of stuff plus all our racing gear, and I don't know about tools if there even can be any. And we're gonna fit all that into the C8.
Shouldn't you have that figured out by now?
We're doing that tomorrow after work, just to play Tetris to get all our stuff in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And if it doesn't fit, it gets left behind.
That's fair. Who needs to change clothes? 8 days isn't
It's fine. I got deodorant.
Yeah. Truck stop showers?
We got hotels. It's fine. I'll be clean.
Oh, that's right. You're doing hotels and things like that.
Yeah, I'll be clean. It's fine.
That's fair. So, but yeah, that's I use that at Super Lab too.
No, I didn't go to Super Lab.
That's fair.
All right. Well, now you got to bring that to Topeka.
I was gonna probably, yeah. Well, actually, if I'm going, that will probably be Logan's at Topeka.
Fair enough. You should get your own.
Come to Gingerman.
Yeah. There you go.
So it's great. I love it. I think it's hilarious.
I'm so used to you just carrying things in a trash bag. You like show up. I got my stuff.
Nah, dude, I got.
What are you talking about? You got your stuff.
I stole it from my son. But...
man, I forgot this, and this. We gotta go to Walmart.
When I was, we'll get to it, Rob. So when I was packing that for Super Lap Battle, I got it all packed and I set it by the door. And then I went to bed before Katie and Logan did that night because I had to get up at like 3:30 in the morning or something like that to meet those guys in Omaha. And when I woke up the next morning, Logan had fucking moved it and hidden it because he didn't want me to take it. And so it took me like 10 minutes to find the damn thing.
He didn't empty it though?
No, he left it alone.
Well, that's good.
God.
I would have expected him to empty it.
Nope, he just hid it from me. But then this time I asked him if I could take it, and he was like, "Yep, you can have it." I'm like, okay, thanks, buddy. And he helped me pack it even.
That's nice.
Yeah, he's real helpful like that.
Yeah, you just got to ask permission first.
Yeah. So, anyway, morning of, as I do, woke up a little bit later than I had planned.
That doesn't sound like you.
Which is why I did not have time to get E-Man's Rooster Booster. But I would like to state, maybe this is going to be more of a defensive rebuttal than I had anticipated. I would like to state for the jury that he never really expressly said, hey, you bring Rooster Booster and we'll trade it. I just I know that when I see him, I should bring it with me, and that was the plan.
As someone that's in that group chat, I assumed you were bringing Rooster Booster based on that conversation.
I always do. I mean, but I didn't have time to stop there. So the other problem that also screwed me over for that morning is that there was a massive accident on Interstate 35. I was dead stopped for 10 minutes.
Yeah, that'll slow you down for sure.
And so that kind of screwed me over too. So, anyway, just barely was able to beat. Oh, that's right. Despite the fact that I said multiple times in a separate group chat with Dalton and Ryan, who was coming with, that I was going to be meeting them at my place of employment Friday morning, Dalton was planning on picking me up at my house.
Oh.
And I didn't find out about that until he was well on his way here.
Oh, shoot.
And thankfully, it didn't really add a whole lot of time to the trip. But I had to return my work truck to work, and I had to get my cot out of my Cavalier because I keep it in my Cavalier for when I need it at work.
Right.
So I had to go get my cot, got my cot. I thought that I had my sleeping bag and pillow in my Cavalier as well because I couldn't find them in my house Thursday night. Got there. Turns out I don't know where my spare sleeping bag or my sleeping bag and spare pillow are. No fucking clue what happened to those things. So that is what we had to stop at Walmart for this time around. So some things never change, Robbie.
It's nice that you're consistent.
I try to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that this isn't the way that people want me to be consistent.
No.
But at least I am.
Yeah, I assume that we'll stop. We always have to go to the Walmart at Gingerman. And not just for food.
So I had to get a sleeping bag, another sleeping bag, because the one I have I bought at Gingerman.
I remember
at that Walmart.
Well, I remember because it was the warm weather one during the cold weather times.
Yeah, and so this time I bought a colder weather one.
Good call.
And I still froze to death.
Really?
Dude, I was so cold.
Is that because Dalton had the AC on or because it was cold?
Dalton did not sleep in the trailer.
That's right. He got a hotel, Mr. Fancy Boy.
Yes, he got a hotel.
Wow, high life.
Yes. He offered for us to stay there with him Oh, and we declined, knowing that we would be interrupting and that we didn't need to be a part of it.
Yeah,
But we don't need to get into that.
No.
That's different.
But what was the weather like down there? I thought
like
chilly?
60s?
Yeah, but that means it drops down to the 40s overnight, huh?
Yeah, so it was one of those deals where it was just warm enough that, like, you put a sweatshirt on, you're a little warm. You take your sweatshirt off, you're a little cold. It was one of those deals, you know?
Yeah.
Which was really frustrating. So, like, when I was doing the live stream stuff, I would just try not to wear a sweatshirt. And then most of the rest of the time, I had my sweatshirt on. So, could have been worse. Could have been colder. Could have rained. It tried to rain a little bit. It was wet when we got there. It was wet when we woke up Saturday morning. So, you know, it could have been worse. All in all, it certainly wasn't as bad as Gridlife of past.
Yeah.
So.
No, so it looked like it was okay. Like I watched a little bit of the live stream. I was in the shop and I didn't have time to actually watch this one, but I watched a lot of highlights, I guess.
Yeah. I did all the live stream time attack stuff with Abe.
Awesome.
As I'm sure a bunch of you probably noticed. Originally, I was like, so I think I might have started to get sick already when we got there. And I was just not feeling like super into that idea of doing the live stream thing.
While you're
when
sick.
It started, you know, just like, man, I don't really want to do it this weekend, you know? And I kind of told Adam such, like, you know, he's like, hey man, you know, if you're feeling up to it, I might, you know, I could probably use you in the live stream thing or whatever. You know how Adam is. He's like
Mr. Nonchalant, like non-committal.
Yeah, he'll never like flat out ask you. He'll just be like,
yeah,
hey
cool.
man, you know, like
it'd be cool if he did it.
If you wanted to or whatever, like it, you know, would really help me out. Like he won't be like, hey man, I really need you to do this. Will you please do it? He'll never do that. He'll always like make you kind of feel bad about it. You know?
Yeah, of course. So guilt trip.
Like
I can't say no now.
Guilt trip you into it, right? What a jerk. Really. I mean, just tell me what you need, man.
Just be direct.
But, yeah. So at first I was kind of like not that into it. And then I found out that Abe was probably going to be doing it by himself. And I was like, nah, man, like you can't do that.
You can't leave Abe.
Worst.
Yeah, I can't leave him by just hanging,
No,
man.
I wasn't going to do that to Abe. So I jumped in there, and after, you know, back and forth a little bit for a little while and like kind of got into the swing of things and felt more comfortable with it. And it was still a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself. It was one of those deals where it's like, I don't really want to do it until I do it. And then I'm like, oh yeah, this is great fun. I should do this all the time.
Did you, I assume you're up in like the timing tower doing this?
Not in any way.
Where are you?
So we were, just over the pit wall, right about pit exit.
Outside?
Yeah, like inside of a tent.
Oh,
like on the paddock parking area, on the concrete.
Okay, that is not great for viewing. Do you just watch the video?
That's one of the things I wanted to talk about. That track is
not good for viewing.
Amazing track. Don't get me wrong. Not a spectator friendly environment.
No, you get to see the front straight. Hard stop.
Barely.
Yep.
So along the backside of the garages, and I think along the Holly building, there's some balcony area.
Yep.
And you can kind of get up a little ways and you can see some of the corners. You can see the front straight. But like for the most part, that track is terrible.
Yeah, that's what happens when
viewing for spectator. It's just not a good track for that. It's not well set up. There's no bleachers. There's no viewing. There's lots of relatively high walls because of what makes that track so interesting. All the elevation changing and stuff like that also makes it really difficult to watch racing.
Yeah, that and half the stuff is designed to like keep the sound in.
Right.
So yeah, it's not really great for looking in. No, because when I did the like the live stream audio stuff for the SCCA when I was for TT Nats. They had us up in the timing tower, but then I remember the time people weren't like super pumped about it.
Yeah, it would have been cool to be up there and have a little bit of height, maybe be able to see what's going on. Well, like we literally all we could see, all we were able to comment and talk about was what was on the screen at that exact second that you were seeing it as well.
Oh shoot.
That's all we could see of the racetrack. So that made things really difficult from a spectator or from a commenter point of view.
Right.
I think it's a little bit easier with GLTC because those guys, you know, the live stream crew that they have there are like really good at their job. They're very, very, very good at their job. And so they know what to follow but Time Attack is so much harder to do. And basically what Abe and I ended up doing was like, well, this is a podcast. And every once in a while we're going to talk about times.
Yep. I think that's the best way to go about it. If you can talk about anything you know about the builds or anything you know about the drivers, you know, anything you can talk about that's relevant. I think that's for Time Attack, that's a really great way to like bring people in. Because if you're just going to sit there and talk, so and so did a 123.
Yeah.
So and so did a 224.
So we talked a lot about like the differences between classes and rules, and I asked Abe a few questions about. There were a couple of little things, not real serious ones, but little things that required some scrutineering throughout the weekend, and I asked him, you know, like a little bit about that. I didn't want, like, I know you can't get too into this, but you know, kind of walk me through it or whatever. And oh man. Sorry. We also talked about, I talked with Abe about the fact that like this track is really hard from a Time Attack competitor perspective, with the length of sessions.
Oh, it's terrible.
You know, I talked to him about that, and referenced how you felt about it at Time Trial Nationals, and stuff like that. So, you know, and he's like, yeah, you know, I never really thought about it that way, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And, you know, we talked about those things back and forth a little bit, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I have since been asked by Mr. Jabay himself to do the rest of the live streams for Gridlife for 2021.
Nice.
And I've committed to that. So that's going to be interesting.
That is awesome.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed that, because Abe and I are going to be doing the rest of them. So the other thing, I don't know how many people this applies to here that actually listen to the podcast, but if you are listening to this podcast and you are a track battle competitor, please find me in the paddock and talk to me about shit that's going on track, off track with you and your car through the weekend. So I've got shit to talk about.
The more interesting stuff you can say about your car and yourself.
If you see me walking by and you got something that you think is interesting, whether it's for you or a fellow competitor or whatever, please flag me down. Let me know. I would love to talk to any and all of you guys about it. I don't know how many track battle competitors actually listen to the show. So I'm always surprised when I find out how many people actually listen. But yeah, if there's stuff that you guys think would be interesting on the live stream, hit me up. So especially during the week, but even before the event, if you've got stuff leading up to the event, I would love to hear that too.
Yeah, I think that would be super helpful. Like if someone wants to, someone that's doing something a little interesting that's not just like at S2000, just if they have this like wild swap or whatever build they're doing, just so that they can send that to you even beforehand, so you can like look at their Facebook pages and see what their builds are all about.
Yeah, and I follow a lot of the competitors already. like
of course,
on Facebook and on Instagram, and I keep track of a lot of what's going on because I'm a nerd.
Which is why you're perfect for this.
Did you watch that video that Life put out about Super Lap Battle this year, about 2021?
I haven't yet. No, I need to.
It's like 20 minutes long, so it's a little bit of time dedicated. But like anybody who hasn't watched it, they need to go out and watch it because it's the perfect example of how hard it is to live talk about Time Attack, because there was so much drama and so much like heartbreak and blood, sweat, and tears poured into that car through the weekend that even as somebody who was there and watching them do it, I didn't realize. And the story that they put together for that video afterwards, it's so exciting, and it's so like it makes my hair stand on end like when I just think about it. It's so cool, and it's so awesome to like, and that like that's Time Attack to me. That video is the perfect representation of what Time Attack is to me in my head, and like what it is that people go through just to like, you know,
get that perfect lap,
go a little bit faster. It's, you know, they talk about it's that one perfect lap, and that lap was not perfect, but it was still good enough to break their own record. And you know, the amount of effort that they put forth to do that, and the fact that that car literally coasted across the finish line. Literally coasted across the finish line and reset its own track record is so cool to me. I can't
freaking insane.
Describe it.
Freaking insane.
So, yeah. At the end of that, Cole in there, he says, "I never thought this car was a sub 2-minute car at COTA. I think I'm wrong." And the amount of excitement that gives me for 2022 Super Lap Battle cannot be described.
Yeah, that'll be insane.
So that's
awesome. It's such a fast car.
So
good.
Awesome. So, but anyway, Gridlife things. Yeah, that was, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I really appreciate, I never once got a chance because I feel stupid like going, oh, and check out TenTenths podcast. You know, I don't know why. I just can't. Like,
if Adam Chabay can do it on the Hoonigan autofocus, I think you can do it.
I know, but he pimped our show, not his show.
I know that's how important it is to pimp our show. That even Chabay does.
I just feel weird about it. I don't know why. So I didn't
I'm the same
single
way,
time say anything. I did mention, you know, Abe and I both mentioned that, you know, we are on a podcast, but I never said which one I am on.
From now on, you have to wear a TenTenths podcast shirt. Then you never have to.
I have every intention of that. I need to buy some new ones. I'm going to do that here shortly, actually, probably. But yeah, I need to order some new shirts. So, yeah. That was cool. Basically the only other thing I want to talk about that you guys didn't really touch on too much, the museum.
Yes.
I was really like, we got to go to the museum. Like,
I think
if I have to go over there by myself, I'm going to find time to go to the museum.
I think you'd be more into it than they would. Like, cause yeah, you like me are more into the museum stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. But so we went in there. For the most part, it is exactly what you think of when you think of like what a Corvette museum is going to be. It's a bunch of Corvettes in a museum. Could have figured that's not that fascinating.
I enjoyed the history, like like some of the original stuff from like way at the beginning, and like the progression through times and stuff like that. I always enjoyed that. But like
they have right now, I don't think they had this when you were there. But right now, one of those rooms, one of those halls, if you will, is dedicated to mid-engine Corvette concepts.
There was some. I don't remember.
10 of them in there.
I don't remember there being a room dedicated to it.
I'll bet there's 10 of them in there right now, and only 1 or 2 of those are C8 prototypes.
Because I remember the old Stingray that was always on the folders in the 90s.
Yeah.
That was there. And that was like...
There was one that, like, I was so excited I didn't even take a picture about it. And I'm like, oh, God, Robbie's going to be fucking pissed.
I am
about
pissed.
This later. But it looked just like... It was like the American Jaguar XJ220.
Yeah.
It looked so awesome. It was so radically 80s, but in all of the best ways that, like, even you would be into this car.
I want to say that might even been there.
It had an LT5, which was the dual overhead cam LT1 variant that they put in the ZR1 C4 Corvette, mounted transversely in the back. And, like, you could see it. You could see like the cam towers and stuff on the heads and stuff like from above. And the interior was just like the most radical thing you've ever seen in your life. And it had like the McLaren style doors. And I was like, dude, this car is epic. If they would have built that thing in the 80s, we'd be in a totally different world now.
Yeah, we really would. There's a picture of Dalton bending over looking at a concept car, but that's the best I can do.
Yeah, I didn't get very many in that room. There is a picture of a red, what appears to be C4 Corvette that I sent you. That is, so the story on that one was that when Dodge announced that they were building the Viper with a V10, GM said, "Oh man, we gotta have a rebuttal to this car, right?"
Yeah, of course.
But we can't just put a V10 in ours too. That's because that's what they're doing. So they had some engineers cut the engine cut the frame right in front of the firewall, lengthened it, I think 6 or 8 inches, and stuck a V12 in that.
That would be awesome.
How cool would that have been? A V12 C4 Corvette?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Bitchin'. That would have been dope.
That'd be too good.
Yeah.
That means the 240 would have a V12 in it right now.
It could. It could. LS things, man. So it was pretty cool to see that. The other pictures that I sent you, the very last room in there before you walked out into the gift shop, which was slightly hilarious but also disappointing, it had a bunch of Jesus Christ, now I'm drawing a blank on this dude's name.
I'm not going to be able to help you here. I know exactly who you're talking about. Because they had a bunch of these cars at Volo, and basically there's been like Hot Wheels of them.
Oh my God, I'm so mad at myself.
There's so many people screaming at their radios right now. It's like the real artsy, cartoonish cars. Like they're art pieces, obviously.
Was it Roth?
I don't remember.
Damn it! I can't believe
I'll recognize it as soon as you say it, but there's no way I'll be able to pull it from anywhere.
Ed Roth, I think that's who it is.
Yeah, because
Ed Roth.
Yep,
Big Daddy Ed Roth.
Yeah, now as soon as you say that, I'm picturing the helmet car.
Yes, the helmet car he made, and the Munsters car for like the real old folks in our listenership who actually know who the Munsters are. But they had a whole room dedicated to him. None of these I shouldn't say none of these. Most of these cars are reproductions done by modern famous people.
Oh, okay.
Who were also big Ed Roth fans. A lot of his cars ended up being parted out or scrapped or lost to the ethos, apparently. The yellow one with 2 engines, which was called the Mysterion, was like one of my favorite cars as a little kid.
Really?
The whole idea of dual engines has always, or multiple engines,
Yep.
has always fascinated me. So like there was a drag racer in the 60s called TV Tommy Ivo, and he had like it looked like kind of like a station wagon, but it was a drag car, like a full length dragster basically, that had it had the front grill on the front, and then a large space for the engines, plural.
Yep.
And then like a small station wagon body in the back that he sat inside of. And it had 4 engines, and it was 4-wheel drive, and they were all like big block blown alcohol injected Hemis, and like literally it couldn't be cooler than that.
I do remember it kind of looks like a Corvette, but it's got the 2 big engines with the big blower out the front. I remember that car as well. That was my favorite.
So like Ed Roth is really he's a very influential car guy. Like he's the one with the rat fink.
Yep.
You know, he's the guy that came up with that. And like that's very quintessential hot rodder culture. And it was really cool to see those cars up close and personal, because those are cars that like I've seen in movies, and I've seen in TV shows, and I've seen in magazines and calendars and folders and notebooks, and you name it. Like that stuff's everywhere, right? And then here they are, like in flesh and blood, and like yeah, they're not the real thing, but so yeah, the Mysterion, which is the yellow one with 2 engines on it, that was one of the coolest cars ever to me when I was a little kid, just because I love the multi-engine thing. But I took pictures of a couple other ones. I just think they're so iconic. Everything that guy did was just so incredible. And that room was way cooler to me than most of the rest of the Corvette stuff.
Yes, I'm always fascinated at the craftsmanship that goes into these cars. The Ed Roth stuff.
I'm sure that it's a staggering amount of Bondo.
Oh, I'm sure.
But it's still really cool.
Yeah, and it's got to be just an unbelievable amount of time. Just wet sand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of these were like commissioned for like movies. The Monster Mobile was obviously commissioned for the movie, or like, advertisement pieces, right. Stuff like that. That's how a lot of these things came to be. And so that's kind of cool just to see that thing, like he built one that like could haul a motorcycle and had like a forward cab. Like you sat basically on top of the front axle, and there was a motor. They didn't have that one at the museum, but that would have been really cool. They had his shop truck, which was just like a regular old truck. It wasn't anything too crazy, but it had his logo on the doors, just like your quintessential old shop truck. And that was kind of cool to see that, like, yeah, this guy built some of the wildest shit in the world, but like he just needed a regular shop truck too,
Yep.
So that was neat. It was very cool. The gift shop did not have custom embroidered National Corvette Museum New Balances, or I would have bought a pair. I was very disappointed that they didn't have those. Dalton did find the greatest Hawaiian shirt of all time, but other than that, the gift shop was kind of a miss for us.
I felt the same way.
They have a display towards the beginning of it where there's they have a brick wall, and there's a couple of garage doors, and then inside of those garage doors there's dioramas of a few different things. I think one of them is dedicated to the auto work union, or the Union of Auto Workers and stuff like that. But those individual bricks, you can pay $300 and have your name put on a plaque on these bricks, right? And so there's the brick wall, the garage, the brick wall, garage, brick wall, garage, brick wall, right?
Okay.
And so like the first 3 sections of that brick wall are full, and the third one's about halfway there. But when they build bricks, they alternate them like a little bit, right? Like
yeah, so they're offset, yeah.
And so every other row has a half brick on each end, right? And I said, Dalton, you should see if they would let you put half your name on one of those half bricks for $150. But he wasn't having it. I was really bummed out about it.
I bet they would.
He's like, if it was $150 and not $300 for a whole brick, like I might seriously consider getting one that says Iowa Man Racing on it. And I was like, I bet we could crowdfund that.
Oh, easy.
Because that would be pretty funny.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty good.
So
they can't possibly care as long as the money goes through.
It's a kind of a wild place because, like we were talking about it, could you imagine working there? Because, like, if you work there, like, you're the ticket taker at the front door, right? Like, every day you think this is peak Corvette person, right? And then the next day, somebody goes and one-ups that guy.
Yep,
for
every
sure.
day.
Like, every single day.
Or it's just the same person, like, in your mind. Like, okay, it's the Corvette guy every day.
It was a very strange place.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. I really enjoyed it. It's definitely worth the $15 to go walk through it. I was kind of bummed at the minimum amount of the sinkhole that I could still see.
Is it just kind of that one little area you can kind of look over? Everything else has just been covered up, right?
So they've built a floor entirely back in again.
Yeah.
And there's an outline, a yellow painted outline of where the floor collapsed. And then there's just like a glass lidded manhole cover that you can stand on top of and look down like a 40-foot shaft to the bottom of the cave.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I'm picturing.
And I was like, this is lame AF. I was like, I remembered for a while there, you could go in there and see the whole sinkhole. And I was pretty sure that they had covered that up. And I kind of understand, although part of me is like, that would have been pretty dope to leave open, but fine, whatever. But man, they could have just like given me a little bit more of that. And it would have been so cool to see, so cool to look at. I don't know.
Did you watch like the videos and the all that stuff?
Yeah, we did.
Do they still have all those sinkhole Corvettes in the sinkhole condition?
Yes, they have not. They fixed only the ones that they were going to fix, and that's it.
Okay, I remember there was
I think three. So I think what was it, like 8 fell in, and I think 3 or 4 of them were fixed. A few of them were deemed not valuable enough for the cost of restoration.
Right.
And then I think one of them they decided just to leave that way because it wasn't that bad, but it was more interesting that way.
Yep, that sounds right.
So, but like, yeah, they're still covered in mud.
Yep.
Which is kind of cool. So,
yeah, just pulled them out and plopped them there, and we'll just leave them there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was my NCM weekend. So, it was great to see most of the Gridlife buddies. I got to hang out with Matt Williams, got to hang out with Andrew Rains. Andrew Rains got drunk and did karaoke at Matt Williams' camper until security came and shut us down for being too loud. Do you know the song "We Didn't Start the Fire" by Billy Joel?
Yeah, of course.
Do you know it well enough to recite it without looking at it?
Oh God, no! I could sing
Because
like the
Andrew
chorus.
Rains does, and it's really impressive.
Who knows that song by heart?
Andrew Rains.
That's
ApexPro, everybody. ApexTrackCoach.com.
I'm wearing my ApexPro shirt right now, holding my ApexPro data logger box. Not my shitty Garmin Catalyst. Backstabbing son of a...
It's fine. None of our friends support the things that we do. I get it. It's fine. I've accepted that.
Our real friends and fans use Apex Pros, and they're the ones that are winning events and looking fly and looking professional. Because they went to ApexTrackCoach.com and used code TenTenths. They got a free window mount when they bought their unit.
Very excited to be announcing some new things with them soon.
Very soon. Had our schedules.
I talked to Andrew a little bit, and he's going to be on the show in the near future.
Yep. The plan was to have him on this week, but it's been kind of a nuts, crazy week.
Yeah, and I had a lot of things I needed to talk about. So I got one last thing, and then we're shutting this shit down.
Perfect.
So as is also now become a new Gridlife tradition, while I was gone, Katie's car broke down.
Oh.
as you do.
That's not a fun tradition.
No, it's a tradition I'm very, very excited to break, but we haven't yet. So Katie's still driving my piece of shit Blazer. She's coming up on 250,000 miles.
Oh.
And Blazer, if you're listening, you're doing great.
250. That's good mileage. That's Toyota mileage.
You're doing a great job. Keep at it. So on the way there, because she went and stayed with her dad. She usually goes and stays with a family member while I'm gone, which is great because that means I don't have to. So she went and stayed with her dad that weekend. And on the way there, she calls me because she was traveling roughly the same time we were. And on the way there, she calls me and she goes, like all the gauges are just laying at the bottom of the range, you know, they're not doing anything and the radio's off. And I was like, okay. And then she like flipped she FaceTimed me and she flipped the screen around so I could see it. And then they all just like jumped back up and everything was normal.
Okay. Do you have a battery gauge? It's a Chevy.
It does have it has a voltage meter and an idiot light.
Yep.
The voltage meter was reading normal and the idiot light wasn't on at the time.
Okay.
So I have replaced the alternator in this once before.
Yeah.
It died on me a while ago. This winter when it was like way stupid cold, like 30 degrees below zero, there were a couple of days where like if we had to run and get groceries or something and we'd fire up the Blazer and the voltage gauge would read real low and the idiot light would come on. And I was kind of just like, and then like after the truck would warm up a little ways, the voltage would bounce up and the idiot light would go away. And I was kind of just attributing that to being really fucking cold.
Right.
And it having a lot of miles on it. So I was kind of like, well, have your dad just kind of give it a once over and make sure that everything's normal and everything's fine and tight and not corroded. And hopefully you get home and that problem never comes again. So on the way home, we were like literally, I think they had just dropped me off and I was about to get in my car and head home. And Katie calls me and she goes, hey, I had to pull off on an exit. The truck died.
Shit.
Like, oh, fuck. And like, I can hear her trying to start it, like click, 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 click. And I was like, Katie, don't do that.
Yeah. No bother.
Like it's dead. Battery's dead. She's like, so I can't like wait a few minutes and then try again. Like, no, battery's dead. The alternator shot. The battery's dead. It's not going to start. I will be there as quick as I can. Of course, she's 45 minutes north of where I live, and I'm 45 minutes south of where I live. So she's got 2 dogs and a 5-year-old in the truck with her. So flew back home, grabbed a big toolbox I have that has most of the tools I thought I would need. Was pretty certain it's pretty simple to put an alternator in the Blazer. Then I ran into Ames and got an alternator from Arnold's and flew up there to swap the alternator on. Like it's literally the alternator's in such a simple, easy place to get to. They're like, I think I can put an alternator in it just about as fast as I can put a battery in it. Like it's 10 minutes tops.
Yeah, they shouldn't be too
yourself.
Bad.
It's super easy. And so swapped out the alternator, hooked the jumper cables up to the Cavalier, jump started the truck, let it sit on the jumper cables for like 2 or 3 minutes, unplug the jumper cables, battery gauge drops way down, truck dies in like less than a minute.
Oh shit.
Fuck. Now what? So I go through everything, double check everything. We started the truck on the jumper cables and let them sit there for like 10 minutes. And then pulled them off and kind of revved it up a little bit. And then the gauge starts dropping down again, but the idiot light never came back on.
Okay.
So I don't know what's going on. But ultimately I decided, my dad gave me the option. He's like, well, can you swap the batteries and you just like drive as far as you can, pull over, take the battery out of the Cavalier, put it in the Blazer, keep going. Like swap them back and forth. Like, well,
yeah.
Unfortunately, the battery that's in the Blazer is just too big to fit in the Cavalier spot. So no, I can't do that. So I ended up having it towed, and we moved everything over into the Cavalier. and just left it. So fuck it, we're going home. That was a whole diabolical in itself. They couldn't find anybody who was willing to go and get it because it was so far away.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So it didn't get home till like almost 10 o'clock that night.
Great.
Which was really annoying. So obviously I didn't get to touch it Monday night. And then work turned into work, and I basically didn't touch it at all. It sat on the street in front of my house until Sunday afternoon when I finally had time to look at it. And so I put the battery charger on it and let it sit there. My plan was the alternator that's on the Blazer and the Cavalier and my S10 are all the same alternator.
Yeah, Chevy did that right.
Yeah. So my plan was the last time I put an alternator in the Blazer, the first one I got from Arnold's was DOA. I'm like, well, nobody in the world can have this bad of luck, but maybe, right? So let's just work on the idea that I got another bad alternator. Like, well, the S10's not doing anything, so I was going to just take the alternator off the S10, and so I went over there and I'm kind of looking at it. Took the belt off of it, tried to like reach down in there. It's kind of it's like halfway up the motor on the side, so it's kind of buried. And also it's got a bunch of turbo piping under the hood, so it's super fucking buried.
Oh yeah.
And so I just said, screw it. Let's go back to troubleshooting the Blazer. Went over there, jumped in it, fired it up, pulled the battery charger off of it. Runs great.
Really?
Not a single fucking problem. And I'm like, this can't be, right? Like, this can't be. And so, like, I went and grabbed my multimeter and I'm checking everything everywhere. The voltage, because it's just that single wire alternator, GM alternator. But I'm getting like the regulator control voltage where I'm supposed to get it on the computer and on the alternator, and there's 12 volts or 14 volts everywhere there should be. Everything seemed fine. I'm like, fuck it, let's just unhook the battery and see if the damn thing dies, right?
Yeah.
Nope, ran great. And so we took it from here to Ames, back and forth like 2 or 3 times throughout the rest of the day, running errands and doing some other things like that. And Katie's driven it every day this week.
Not a problem.
Not a problem.
That's so weird.
I don't fucking know, man.
Is it just because that battery was
honestly,
so
I don't
dead?
even care. Like,
yeah,
as long as it keeps going,
great.
I don't care.
Yes, unless that battery just was so stone dead that you just needed the time on the charger to get it up to a decent charge. But you'd think that the alternator would overpower that. But
yeah, I don't know.
Battery, electronics do weird shit.
The alternator should charge enough to keep the truck running once the truck is running, regardless of how dead the battery is.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
That's weird.
I don't really care.
Yeah, as long as it keeps running, that's great.
Yeah. But let's face it, I'm living on borrowed time right now.
Yeah, something's gonna give on that.
Yeah, so I gave Katie a while ago. I gave Katie a like a budget, and we're looking for a van within that budget. We're probably going to be buying a van here soon. I told Katie this time we're buying either a Toyota Sienna or a Honda Odyssey. I would personally prefer the Odyssey because I think it's like interior wise and stuff like that. It's a little bit better van. Like I like the way it's set up a little bit better than the Toyota. But either one of them, I figure I can't go wrong. So we're just trying to figure something out. So
Adult
we'll
shit.
see.
Yeah.
I haven't found anything that really trips my trigger, but we're getting there. So,
Well, nice.
I don't know. Fucking cars, man.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah.
The Z is doing good. The Porsche's completely out of commission. But so yeah,
It's fine. That just means that you get to come to more Gridlife and hang out with the boys.
Yeah, that's kind of the plan.
So I'm excited for that.
A few things on the Z I got to get done. I got the one lap, and then the weekend after that is time trials. So hopefully a good shakedown weekend for the Z. And then the June 4th and 5th, I'll be at Gingerman for GLTC. And then nothing with the Porsche because that engine is done. Turns out that the brand new rebuild engine Failed. It has failed. And I don't really want to talk about it.
Nah, let's not get into it. Robbie, good luck next week.
Thank you.
So I'm super fucking excited to see how it goes for you. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's one of those like surreal moments where like I haven't really accepted the fact that it's happening.
Yeah,
and like
I get that.
Like all of a sudden, it's just like, okay, I'm bringing my stuff to Bill's tomorrow, and we're leaving the day after. This is happening. So now it's real now. So, but yeah, I'm super excited. Yeah, again, it's an amazing car. Now it's even more amazing because Paragon Performance filled it with all sorts of goodies. Maybe I'm going to find out what tires I'm riding on tomorrow that are different than what I thought we were riding on, but we'll figure it out.
I got to see Bill's color. I haven't seen his car, but
Yep.
I got to see his color while we were at NCM. Super cool looking.
It's oh god, it's like a baby blue, but not really. It's a really beautiful color.
The silver they use is like a little bit weird, a little bit special.
Like the actual, like you're talking like the silver painted cars.
Yes, silver cars. And I really like them.
Yeah,
and I don't like silver cars.
No, I do like silver cars, and there's a picture where they had all the Corvettes, and there was one that stuck out that looked really good in silver.
Yeah,
but the one that really stuck out to me was that like dark blue with the really almost white looking aluminum wheels.
Yeah.
That was a really good combination, in my opinion.
I would never buy this, but I don't hate it nearly as much as I thought I would. They have a brown.
Yeah, I know that they make it in Dalton's color. Like
a real brown, not like a ha fuck yourself brown, like an actual brown.
I don't know.
And like, it's pretty good looking. I would never buy it as such, but it's not the worst looking color. I mean, it's cool.
What color interior does it have?
I don't know. I looked at it in the dark.
Oh, maybe that's why you think it looks so good.
Well, I could see the brown when I could see it from where we were parked in the daylight, but I never went and looked at the interior.
Oh, gotcha.
In the daylight. So, they have a lot of colors. There's a purple.
Yep.
There's a couple of different blues. There's greens. There's red. There's orange. There's yellow. Obviously, black, white, silver. Quite the option package list.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that
are concerned.
That it gives you all those options. I mean, obviously, right now everyone's ordering them, so they're picking the color they want. But it's nice to not just have 6 colors. And it wouldn't surprise me if some of these like really fancy looking colors are water based instead of oil based, so you get like a more just like a fancier color.
Right. It is neat though.
Very. All right, let's shut this down. I gotta finish packing and go. Yeah, I gotta go to one lap. I will catch.
Working tomorrow, or are you just?
Yeah, I'm working tomorrow, and then heading over to Beetles.
Like you're not actually gonna work though, right?
I am a dedicated employee. I work nonstop. I show up on time. I show up early. I work. I stay late. I'm dedicated.
I know that like 50% of those things are not true.
Dedicated, all of it. I'm the most dedicated. Doesn't matter if it's Monday or Friday or the day before vacation or the day after.
If you're if you are a potential employer and you're checking this out just to kind of trying to get a feel for Robbie,
I'm honest, loyal, hardworking.
There is no job I would not hire him for.
Exactly.
I am certain no matter what task I gave him that he would accomplish it to the highest degree of perfection.
With the crappiest of tools, I will still get it done.
Absolutely.
That's actually
true. No,
it's
not in his vocabulary, and without a doubt, you would be much better as a company for hiring him.
I'm not looking for another job though, for the record. All right. I will catch you in 2 weeks.
All right. That's right. No show next week, people.
2 weeks.